What if the rules aren't just limits, but lifelines? In Shadowlands, Bluey refuses to take the easy path, even when cupcakes are at stake. And in doing so, she uncovers something deeper than any child's game, a truth about why boundaries, struggle, and even being left behind might be exactly what shapes us. This isn't just a game, it's a lesson for life. At first glance, Shadowlands looks like just another episode built around a clever, imaginative game. And on the surface, it is. The grass is the sea, says Bluey, and the shadows are the land. It's all wonderfully whimsical. The kind of childhood play that makes you wish you could go back and live there, just for a moment. But if you watch closely, something deeper is playing out. The episode begins with Bluey frustrated by Coco. Not because Coco is mean or bossy, but because she always bends the rules to make things easier for herself. It's subtle, but it reveals something about Bluey's inner world. She wants things to be fair. She needs the game to matter. Coco, on the other hand, is all about shortcuts. If the rules get in the way of a good time, she's more than happy to adjust them. And that's where the episode plants its seed. The tension between imagination and integrity, between fun and fairness. Because sooner or later, that choice shows up for all of us. Not just in games, but in work, in relationships, in life. When Bluey gets stuck behind the sunlit gap, it's more than just a setback. It's a turning point. Coco wants to help by changing the rules again. Let's just pretend the crocodiles are asleep. Or give Snickers crocodile-proof shoes. Or just walk on the water. Why not? But Bluey digs her heels in. You can't change the rules, she says. And when Coco asks why, Bluey doesn't have a clear answer. Because they're the rules. That might sound naive, even rigid, but there's wisdom in it. A kind of emotional blueprint children often carry before the adult world teaches them otherwise. Because Bluey's not just protecting the game, she's protecting the meaning within the game. Rules give the journey shape. Risk gives the reward value. The cupcakes at the end matter more because they were earned through effort and imagination, not shortcuts. And when Bluey finally breaks, when she slumps and says, okay, and agrees to change the rules, we feel her heart break. Not because she's losing a cupcake, but because she's losing what the journey stood for. In that moment, Bluey's not just a kid playing a game, she's doing something we all recognize, giving up a little piece of what matters to her in order to go along with everyone else. It's not just about following the rules, it's about how we see ourselves. The rules we choose to stick to often say a lot about who we are and what we care about. Bluey isn't just upset because the game changed. She's unsettled because she feels different in it. When the rules shift, the whole experience changes, and so does her place in it. She's no longer the brave explorer solving problems and helping her friends. Now she's just walking across a lawn. The fun is still there, but the meaning isn't. And that loss of purpose, that quiet letdown, it matters more than it seems. Because even as kids, we're already starting to understand what it feels like when something we care about stops feeling right. So, what does this teach us? Adults often live in a world where bending the rules is encouraged, where speed matters more than substance, and convenience outweighs conviction. But Shadowlands quietly reminds us of something we've maybe forgotten, that doing the harder thing, the honest thing, the imaginative thing, the rule-abiding thing, matters, even when no one is watching. It matters especially when no one is watching. Bluey's integrity isn't showy. She doesn't deliver a monologue about morals. She simply holds the line until she can't anymore. And then something magical happens. Right when she's about to step into the sun, to give in and cheat, the clouds roll in, the sun disappears, the world turns to shadow, and the path opens up again. It's not a reward. It's not divine intervention. It's just weather. But emotionally, it feels like something else entirely. It feels like a moment of grace, a quiet whisper that says, "See, you didn't have to cheat. The hard way was worth it." This is the hidden message of Shadowlands. Sometimes, when you hold on to your values, even when they isolate you, the world shifts just enough to meet you where you are. But you have to be willing to stand in the sun first. You have to be willing to feel left behind, because that space, that uncomfortable space between choosing ease or staying true, is where character is forged. It's where resilience is born. Bluey doesn't fight or argue. She simply endures the discomfort of being different. And how often do we, as adults, abandon our principles just to avoid that feeling? The truth is, integrity isn't glamorous. It's quiet. It's lonely. But it's the foundation on which trust, confidence, and self-respect are built. And sometimes, the greatest act of courage is staying still while everyone else moves on. Shadowlands is about a game, but it's also about growing up, about that quiet, painful moment where play meets principle, because life will test us, with jobs that tempt us to cut corners, with relationships that ask us to be less than we are, with a world that sometimes rewards the easy answer over the right one. Bluey reminds us that rules aren't just obstacles. Sometimes they're scaffolding. They hold up the meaning of the journey. They create the possibility of triumph. And when we drop our values too quickly, it's not just the rules we lose, it's the meaning behind them. That's why Coco's final line is so important. After all the running, laughing, and finally reaching the picnic blanket, she says, "That's why you can't change the rules, because the rules make it fun." It's a simple line, but it says everything. Bluey didn't need to convince anyone. She just stayed true to what she believed, and eventually, the others saw the value in it for themselves. That's how real values work. You don't always need to explain them. You just have to live by them. And even if the cloud hadn't come and the shadows hadn't returned, Bluey's choice would still matter. Because what this episode really shows is that the standards we set for ourselves, even the small ones, shape how we understand who we are. They build trust. They build confidence. They teach kids and adults how to handle frustration, work through problems, and wait for the right moment. In a world that often tells us to move fast and bend the rules, Bluey shows us the opposite, that it's okay to slow down and play the long game. So here's a question worth asking. What are the personal rules that guide how you live? Not the ones set by your job, your parents, or society, but the quiet, personal standards you hold yourself to. The ones that kick in when no one's watching. Maybe it's telling the truth, even when it's awkward. Maybe it's showing up on time. Maybe it's doing the right thing, even when it costs you something. Or maybe it's just being the kind of person you'd want to rely on. And maybe, like Bluey, you've had moments where sticking to those rules made things harder, where you felt left out, or alone, or even silly for caring more than everyone else seemed to. But that's the thing about doing what you believe in. It's not always rewarded right away. It doesn't always feel good in the moment. Sometimes, it means taking the long way around. Sometimes, it means saying no when everyone else is saying yes. And sometimes, yeah, it means missing out on something sweet. But over time, those little choices add up. They shape how you see yourself. They build trust in yourself and in the people around you. They teach kids and remind adults that what we stand for matters. And that's the deeper truth inside Shadowlands. Bluey didn't just play a game, she held on to what she believed made it worth playing. And in the end, that choice brought her not just to cupcakes, but to connection. And maybe that's the real reward. If this made you feel something, even just a little, tap like and hit subscribe for more stories that see the heart behind Bluey.